Well, I don't know if any of you saw. I didn't see. I didn't watch the show, but I saw an excerpt or a video. I think it was on YouTube there, or the news played it or something somewhere. But it was. It was. I don't know if you've ever heard of the artist. His name's Jelly Roll, and he's got quite an interesting story. But he I think he won an award on, I think it was the Grammys. It was just recently here a few weekends ago, and he was accepting the award, and I couldn't help but notice in the video he held up this exact Bible. It was the Gideon New Testament, and it was very powerful. I'll link the, if I can find it, I'll link it below the his his award um, acceptance speech, I guess you'd call it. But it made me think of he's lost like, oh, he's like one third the size he was when he wrote this one song. It was, I think that it's one of his most popular songs. It's got millions of views on YouTube. It's called Save Me. And it was so popular, other artists recorded it or had him singing, and then they did their, Eminem did a version of it, and then he did his rap in between Jelly Roll's part of the Save Me song. And I couldn't help but notice the contrast of the song. Basically was, calling out to God to save him, and in Jelly Roll goes on to state how the gospel and music is what got him through prison and got him, saved, basically. And where Eminem's version was really sad. It was like he was dead, and he was looking through a window back at his missing his daughter's first guitar recital, and all the, just a really sad depiction of you could tell it just really destroyed. He felt very destroyed. Where Jelly Rolls, God saved him. I mean, it made me think of the verse Romans 8:28. For all things work together for good to those who love the Lord, and that's the key. We mess up throughout our life. I think of, watching the Eminem one brings a tear to your eye, because it's, it makes me remember, the times that I failed as a father. And you tend to, it seems like the evil one wants to bring on the guilt of our failures, and we often forget to look at the times that we may by the grace of God did the right thing. And I got a card from my daughter for my birthday, and it brought a tear to my eye. But I don't know if you can see it there. It's Snoopy and Woodstock canoeing. And when my daughter was about this age, my son was older. I remember my son's comment when we started kayaking. He went with me the first time, and I believe his words were, "We should have started this sooner, Dad." that was a failure of mine. And yeah, he was right. We should have. But my daughter, at this age, I would put her in the front of. I had a kayak that was an Old Town Loon, and it had a real large cockpit, much larger than these. And I would have her sitting on a floating. It was a flotation device pad. She would sit on that, and then she would have her doll and her coloring book and all of her paraphernalia that she would bring, usually in this little pink case. And but if you open this card, I'll show the front part, and then you open it, and that's the inside. But it just I kidded her back. I says, "Where's Woodstock's coloring crayons?" But yeah, here's another picture. My wife snapped this one. I was asleep on the couch, and Sarah crawled up on my back and fell asleep, and my wife snapped that picture. But yeah, we do our best as parents, but anyhow, I guess the moral of the story is we all need saved. We all need saved, and but as Romans 8:28 says, for all things work together for good to of those that love the Lord, and that's the key. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. All righty, you all have a good one. God bless.